Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Human Health and Diseases. Today in this video we will cover part 4. So let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 1990. In hot summer and cold winter, the number of malarial cases as well as the anopheles declines. Reappearance of the malaria in humid warm conditions is due to dash. So we all know that, right? During rainy seasons, not during raining, but after it rains, you'll have small puddles everywhere and there'll be water stagnant over it, and you'll have bubbles over it. They're actually the mosquito eggs which are laid on it and they hatch. And you must have heard elders telling you that disturb the water so that the eggs get disturbed and they don't hatch or might get destroyed. So this is a very common scenario that we all come across. So it's the same thing here. In hot summer or cold winter, the malarial cases as well as the anopheles declines because they don't have water to hatch. They don't have water for the eggs to be laid. So what happens there? It remains inactive, they say. They survive, that the surviving sporocytes and surviving mosquitoes. Okay? What happens? The sporocytes remain inactive, or they where there's water they might become active. So some sort of mechanism goes on. So it talks about the surviving sporocytes and surviving mosquitoes. To your right side, you can see a clear table of the different species which come under the same genus of Plasmodium, which causes malaria. So the first one that you can see is Plasmodium falciparum, and you have Plasmodium vivax. You also have the ring structure, the trophozoite, the schizos, then you have gametocyte. You have a clear explanation here. You can go on, you can go through it. So you have 5 different species which come under the same genus Plasmodium: vivax, malariae, ovale, and you have novsky. Yeah, so each species are relevant in certain areas. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option B. Next question here: malaria fever coincides with the liberation of dash, and this question was asked in the year 1989. I think all of you know the answer what it is. Malaria parasite, it can be anything of the 5 species that I mentioned there. Protist of the class Protozoa. Then you have digenetic parasite causes malarial fever in human. The malarial parasite was first discovered by Lavrin in the year 1880. Sir Ronald Rose discovered that malaria disease is spread by mosquitoes. Its life cycle completes in 2 organisms, so it's a vector-borne disease, as we all know. Right, it's a vector-borne disease where it uses a vector called mosquito, and that is exclusively a female mosquito called as anopheles. Okay, it enters into the human blood through sporocytes. Malarial fever begins with the release of merozoites in the liver cells from the RBC of the human. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option C, merozoites. Next question here: transplantation of tissues or organs fails often due to the non-acceptance of the patient's body. Which type of immune response is responsible for such rejection? So when it is getting rejected, it is understood. It's not the hormonal or physiological or autoimmune. It is because of the cell-mediated immune response which causes this non-acceptance of the transplanted organ, or you call it as rejection. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option A. Next question here: malt constitutes about -% of the lymphoid tissue in human body, and this question was asked in the year 2017. So how much does it so what is the full form of malt? First of all, it is called as mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, and you must have seen it's a part of the ingredients of the energy drinks that you drink, especially Horlicks. I think it has malt based, so it's good for body. Okay, and this constitutes about how many? 50% of the lymphoid tissue in human body. It is scattered along the mucosal lining of the human body. Therefore 50% is the answer. Yes. Next question: in higher vertebrates, the immune system can distinguish self cells and non-self. If this property is lost due to the genetic abnormality and it attacks the self cells, then it leads to dash. Very easy question. when the body is attacking your own immune cells, your own cells, what do you call it as? It's automatic. Therefore, the answer is autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease is a pathological state arising from the abnormal immune response where the body will take your own cells and they attack on your own body cells. So I'd like to give you one good example here. There is a disease called, not disease actually, a disorder called urticaria. It is associated with autoimmune disorder with the body where the own cells will be attacked by your immune cells and you'll have nice bulges in your body. Yes, and they give you Allegra for it to get settled. Sometimes it's a lifelong disorder, sometimes it might reveal for months or something. The actual reason of why this is occurring is not yet found because it can be any factor that you eat or that you're facing. It can be some pollutant, it can be anything that is allergic to you. So it is very hard to recognize the particular thing that is responsible for this disease called as urticaria. So this is also why I told you this here. It's an example of autoimmune disorder in the body. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option C. Next question. Anti-venom injection contains performed antibodies while polio drops that are administered into the body contain. Okay, you have four different options here. It cannot be activated pathogens because once it is injected into the body, it will cause the disease. Harvested antibodies also cannot be the answer because you need another source. You have to inject into that source and you will harvest the antibodies. That is also not possible. Gamma globulin also is not the possible answer. The right answer is attenuated pathogens. What do you mean by attenuated? Any idea? Okay. That is, the virulence factor of the pathogen will be removed. That is, the disease causing capacity will be removed. Only the antibody stimulation will alone work in this pathogen. Okay, they don't cause any symptoms. They only cause the antibodies to be released in your body. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option D. Okay, next question. Which one of the following immunoglobulins does constitute the largest percentage of the human milk? Very, very easy question. So when we come to the factor of immunoglobulins, you have IgM, IgG, IgA, IgD, IgE. Okay. Actually, the first milk that comes from the mother during the first delivery or whatever you call it as colostrum. It will exactly not look like milk. It will be like a fluid, watery fluid that comes out from the mother. Okay. So this colostrum will contain high levels of IgA, which gives passive immunity to the fetus. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option A. And to your right side, you can see the different types and the characteristic of the antibodies. IgG, highest opsonization and neutralization activities, classified into Ig1, 2, 3, and 4. IgM, if you see, it's produced first upon antigen invasion, increases the transitivity. And IgA, it is expressed in mucosal tissues. IgD and IgE. IgD is an unknown function, they say, and IgE is involved in allergy. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option A. Next question here. If you suspect a major deficiency of antibodies in a person, to which of the following would you look for a confirmatory evidence? What will you look for? Will you look for serum albumins? No. Hematocytes? No. As I already said, antibodies are immunoglobulins, right? So you will check for serum globulins. Serum globulin test provides a confirmatory evidence measuring the deficiency of the antibodies in a person. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option C. Next question here. Grafted kidney may be rejected in a patient due to dash. It's very easy. We already discussed about it in the earlier question of this part. It is called as cell-mediated immune response. Okay? Yeah. Next question. The cell-mediated immunity inside the human body is carried out by dash. So immunity is based upon the two important cells that are there in a human body. One is B lymphocytes and the other is T lymphocytes. So cell-mediated immunity inside human body is carried out with the help of T lymphocytes, while humoral mediated immunity is based upon the B lymphocytes. Okay, so you abbreviate it as CMI, cell-mediated immunity. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option D. Next question here. In which one of the following options the two examples are correctly matched with a particular type of immunity? Okay, so first one is the polymorphonuclear leukocytes and monocytes. They are the cellular barriers. Yes, that's right. Anti-tetanus and anti-snakebite injection, no. Saliva and mouth and ear and eyes, physical barriers. Okay. Mucus consisting of epithelium lining the urogenital tract and head seal in the stomach are physiological barriers. The right answer is option A. Polymorphonuclear leukocytes and monocytes are actually the cellular barriers inside the human body. Next question. Which one of the following statement is correct with respect to the immunity? Therefore, this answer was asked in the year 2012. Performed antibodies need to be injected to treat the bite by a viper snake. It is also a type of immunization to which is called as passive immunization. Antibodies that are produced by B cells are typically made of basic structure units. So when we talk about immunoglobulin chain, you'll have one thing unique. 2 light chains, 2 heavy chains, 1 light chain, 1 heavy chain. It's the basic characteristic of heavy and light chains. Antibodies are proteins that bind to the specific antigen. So usually the antibody will act like a receptor where the antigen will come and bind to it. Okay. Yeah, so antibodies are proteins that bind to the specific antigen to mark them for destruction. For example, marking them more recognizable, the phagocytotic cells will engulf. What is phagocytosis? This is called as engulfing of foreign materials, and it is destroyed. So therefore the right answer to this question is option A. Performed antibodies need to be injected to treat the bite of a viper snake. Next question here. Which one of the following acts as a physiological barrier to the entry of the microorganisms in the human body? We're talking about physiological barrier. Monocytes, tears, and epithelium of urogenital tract. They're not physiological barriers, but they are cellular barriers. The right answer to this question is skin. Skin has a metabolic function to prevent the non-resident bacteria from developing. Therefore, the right answer is option D. And it is very essential to take bath because you wipe away all the dirt from your skin. It's not just dirt, but it's also the foreign materials that settle on your skin may start to react if you leave your skin without washing. It will start reacting with your skin. They tell you, right, when you go out, when you come back home, you should wash your face. Why? All that pollutants, all the foreign materials settle on your face, and you will automatically see your face getting dulled. You'll get a lot of pimples, the color changes. So all is because of that only. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option D. Next question. Select the correct statement with respect to the disease and immunization, and this question was asked in the year 2011. So we have to analyze the statements here. If due to some reason B and T lymphocytes are damaged, the body will not reproduce antibodies against the pathogen. Injection of dead or inactivated pathogens causes passive immunity. Certain protozoans have been used to mass produce hepatitis B vaccine. Injection of the snake antivenom against a snake mite is an example of active immunization. The first option is right. Your system works on the basis of the immunity that you have. Your B and your T lymphocytes are your safeguarders of your body. When they don't function, or when they are set to malfunction, and when there is no production of antibodies or less production of antibodies, I'm sure the person is going to have a bad day. If due to some reason, if the B and the T lymphocytes are damaged, how are they damaged? Because of the diseases that we encounter, especially if it is going to be a viral disease. I'm sure we are all going to go for a toss, because virus has the capability of faking its structure based upon the host. Therefore, the host takes time to recognize whether it is self or non-self. That is why viral diseases seem to have a lot of impact when compared to bacterial diseases. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option A. Next question here. A person likely to develop tetanus is immunized by administering dash. Okay, we have 4 options here. Tetanus toxoid is a vaccine consisting of growth that produce. So what causes tetanus? It is caused by Clostridium tetani. It's treated with a formaldehyde serving as an active immunization agent. Hence, it is a weakened germs. The first tetanus toxide, that is inactivated toxin, was produced in the year 1924 and was used successfully to prevent tetanus in the armed services during the World War II. In mid-1940s, tetanus vaccine was combined with diphtheria toxide and inactivated pertussis vaccine to make a combination called as DTP. We are all incorporated with this vaccine, right? Therefore, the person likely to develop tetanus is immunized by administering weakened germs. Okay, fine. With this, we complete the part 4 of human health and diseases. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.